Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles. The Baker Mayfield Rams defeat the Raiders 17-16. A comeback from 3-16 mid fourth quarter. The last time we did a podcast was Monday. Tom Brady beat the Saints in a very similar fashion. 3-16. They were losing 3-16 and ended up winning 17-16 in an improbable manner. At that time, when Tom Brady beat the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football, Baker Mayfield was not a Ram. This is unbelievable what he has done. And this comeback was amazing. It wasn't as crazy as Monday Night Football. I think it was still crazy, but not as crazy. This one had a 3% win probability for the Rams, according to Amazon Next Gen Stats. The Bucs, they had a sub 1%, like a 0.7% after one of Todd Bowles' surrender punts. McVay tried to do a surrender punt as well, down 13 in the mid-fourth, but a false start actually saved him from himself and got that first touchdown drive going. So, burying the lead, though, Baker Mayfield won this game with a 98-yard drive with 1 minute and 34 seconds and no timeouts, 42 hours after being claimed by the Los Angeles Rams. This is unbelievable. This may be Baker Mayfield's finest hour. This truly amazing. It should not be downplayed how hard it is to play football without practice, without preparation. You know, the Amazon crew, Fitzpatrick, Whitworth, Sherman, I thought they did a good job talking about how crazy this really is. And they also called out the Raiders too, because it could have been prevented. This whole thing was a stew, part Baker magic, part Raiders collapse. You know, that 98-yard drive at the end, after the Raiders had already given up a touchdown drive to a quarterback who had only been there for 40 hours. That one was Raiders had gotten an interception that was negated by a legit pass interference call. Then they had a sack that seemingly won the game, a Max Crosby sack negated by a personal foul. I mean, it was just the Raiders just kept giving the Rams chances. And yeah, Baker made some great throws. Two great throws, actually. The sideline one to Skoranek that he jumped up over the DB who wasn't paying attention, and the touchdown to Van Jefferson, who was made a great play on the ball. It was a highly contested catch. You know, why were the Raiders playing tight press man coverage at all? I don't know, but the DB himself, the guy who gave up the touchdown to Van Jefferson, was in good tight press man coverage. This is crazy, though. God, you know, I had a whole thing written up about how I was going to compare this Baker Mayfield, performance favorably to some of the other quick turnaround performances in history. You know, the 2016 Sam Bradford was traded from the Eagles to the Vikings. He played week 2. He only had like a week and a half to get ready, and he had 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. I was going to make a case that Baker Mayfield eclipsed that, even if he didn't quite get the touchdowns. But then he did get the touchdowns and the yards and the win. Wow. I mean, instead, this feels more like that 2018 Thursday night football game, the Jets versus the Browns, when Baker Mayfield first came in and played. And Tyrod Taylor got benched, and Baker Mayfield had those big drives and won the game for the Browns after they had lost like 30 of 31. That's what this game felt like. Baker Mayfield does his best work when the pressure is off, and he shouldn't be able to do it. That's Baker. And we'll see how his Rams tenure goes here. I'm worried about Matt Stafford's career. I feel like maybe Baker Mayfield might consider being the Rams quarterback, because The reason I'm worried about Stafford's career is, first of all, he's had so many injuries over the years, and so many injuries that surprisingly he's played through, and some that he's been like forced off the field for a longer time than you think. I remember that back injury a few years ago that just ended his season, surprisingly. And the way McVay talks about it, he's like, after consulting with Matt and Kelly, who is, I guess, Matt Stafford's wife, like, well, that's a weird thing to bring up here. It feels like more of like a family thing. Like, you are done playing. You got your ring. I don't know. That is pure speculation. We got to save some time to bash the Raiders here. I mean, why they abandoned Davante Adams, I don't know. But this has happened multiple times this year. They stuck with Josh Jacobs, who tried to play through the finger injury and played okay. But why is he the only player getting the ball with that taped up hand? Davante Adams is good enough to be thrown to in situations where you have the lead. It feels crazy to say, I guess. Josh McDaniels, the loss to the Cardinals when they were up 20 and they gave up all those points, the loss to the Colts in Jeff Saturday's first game, like, these are bad losses. These are coaching losses. Without Belichick, Josh McDaniels cannot run a team. It really doesn't seem like it. And I guess this game goes into the one possession losses column that Mark Davis and Josh McDaniels cite as the reason he should stay, but doesn't feel like it. If they had won this game, we probably would have been talking about Raiders as an outside chance for the playoffs, for the AFC playoffs. They would have gone to 6-7, and there's 7 seeds now, so you just never know, and anything can happen. But now they're 5-8. They're pretty much done. This would have been a 4-game winning streak. They've been on a case there, but they started so badly. They're pretty much done. And the Rams go to 4-9. You know, they're also done. But maybe this will leave them with a good taste in their mouth. Maybe they'll get some fans to the stadium. Al Michaels calling out the PA guy who just obsessively screams, "Whose house?" That was Al Michaels' words, obsessively screaming "whose house?" He wants them to say Rams house, but the crowd is all Raiders fans. You could hear it on the final Baker drive. The crowd is cheering against them. They're going into a silent count. When the pass interference was called on the Raiders, the crowd is booing. When Baker got sacked by Crosby, the crowd erupted in cheers because they thought the Raiders had just won. Then that penalty came and the crowd just gasps. It was pure Raiders out there. Well, I guess both the Raiders and the Rams have won a Super Bowl in Los Angeles. Let's face it, Los Angeles is a Raiders and 49ers town. It's, you know, the crowd stadium thing is a mess right now. Mukilteo Football Show. This show is football, everything. NFL history, legacy, ups and downs of a season. Follow us at MUK_football on Twitter or YouTube. Subscribe, share, review on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you get podcasts. We have shows Thursday after Thursday Night Football, Sunday after Sunday Night Football, and Monday after Monday Night Football. And let's get ready to talk a little bit more about what else is coming up in week 14. So the Thursday show, I'm just going to pick 4 games, pick the lines, and see how we do. Roll the dice. Let's get to the first game. The New York Jets travel to the Buffalo Bills. So I guess the New Jersey Nets cross the state lines into New York to play the Buffalo Bills to satisfy all those people who remind us constantly that Buffalo is the only team that plays in the state of New York. But this is a good rematch. This is a fun AFC East rematch. And it's a bummer. The Bills coming off the news that Von Miller is out for the season. It always felt like he was out for the season after that injury on Thanksgiving Day. I always felt like the Bills were afraid to tell us. But this is bad because Von Miller, he was playing pretty sparingly early in the year. And so were all of the pass rushers, and they were rotating in, and the pass rush was just as big of a part of the Bills' juggernaut status as Josh Allen was. It was a double A side. Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields Forever. Rest in peace, John Lennon today, by the way. But now without Von Miller, those pass rushers are going to have to play more. Plus, you don't have Von Miller. There's more to it than just losing Von Miller. I'm worried about the Bills. They had an elite aspect of their team on defense, and now they don't. That pass rush has gone away, at least from the elite status. I guess the hope for the Bills is that the mini bye, because they played Thursday against the Patriots in Week 13, they've had 10 days off. That has brought Josh Allen back to health, back to MVP form. Because if he's still hurt, he's a walking season-ending injury waiting to happen because he does not protect himself. And it's not just the head of steam run plays. He's in the grasp and he's fighting for another contact. And he makes late decisions to go down and he tackles players on his interceptions without any form or control. It's wild. It's the Cam Newton. It's the Cam Newton. Sean McDermott should know. He's seen this before. Eventually, you take the wrong hit and you can't play that way anymore. Meanwhile, the Jets, and I'm not saying Josh Allen is going to get hurt, but I just worry about it is my main point. The Jets are revitalized and they are chasing a realistic AFC playoff odds, I would say. They're pretty much slated in for one of those wild card spots as long as they don't collapse. And they're having fun. Garrett Wilson is becoming a star. Elijah Moore is back and wanting to play for the Jets. Running back Zonovan Knight. He's popping off the screen. I'm not saying he's going to be good, but he's got the makings for one of those classic rookie running back, 15 minutes of fame type guys. Zonovan Knight. Zonovan with a Z. Names these days, man. And the Jets defense has been good this whole time. And just the whole team. They're all happy about Mike White. They're wearing his t-shirt. They're talking about him unprompted to the media. They're engaging with him. Workplace morale matters, man. Bills are favored by 9. I'll take the Jets to cover that 9. It's a divisional game. That line's too high. 10 days rest isn't magic. Josh Allen's not purely back, I don't think. If he comes out and the accuracy and everything is fully back, I'll take that L. But I think the Jets have the momentum and they're going to definitely cover that 9 and maybe win. All right, next game. Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions. And the most surprising line of the year. Vegas has no faith in the Vikings, or maybe they're buying big time into the Dan Campbell roar. But the Lions, the 5-7 Lions, are favored over the 10-2 Vikings by 1.5 points. They are at home, but I guess you could look at it this way, and a lot of people talk about football this way. Only really the last month matters in terms of predicting what will happen this week. Both teams are 4-1 in their last 5 weeks. And remember the Lions beat the Vikings last year around this time for their first win of the season. That was Amon-Ra St. Brown's first touchdown when he got that final second touchdown for the Lions to win it. That was fun. They've improved since then. And the defense has shown improvement. The Vikings are due for some heavy regression. Yeah, I'm talking myself into this. I am going to take the Lions to cover this 1.5. Plus, Kirk Cousins called this a hat and t-shirt game, as in meaning we're going to clinch the NFC North. And then the punt returner, Jalen Reagor, is guaranteeing a win. So he's going to muff a punt. Yeah, Lions are covering this. 1.5. Go Lions. All right, next game. San Francisco. If you're going to San Francisco. Oh, actually, we're going to Tampa Bay, Florida. What's a good Florida song? I'm trying to think of it. There's got to be a Tom Petty Florida song. Tom Petty's got a good California song. California's been good to me. I hope it don't fall into the sea. But he's from Florida, and we're going to Tampa Bay, so it still works. Would have been cool to have Jimmy Garoppolo playing in this game versus Brady, since they were both in New England for so long, but Jimmy G is injured. It's pretty crazy. Jimmy Garoppolo was 26 years old when he was traded from New England to San Francisco on Halloween 2017. Brady was 40 at that time. Tom Brady has played 90 games since then and counting. Jimmy Garoppolo has played 61. So Brady's played 30 more games than Garoppolo. Yeah, Garoppolo just gets hurt a lot. It sucks for him. The questions here are, can Brady just call plays for the Buccaneers? If any player has ever deserved to just be their own offensive coordinator and call their own plays, wouldn't it be 45-year-old Tom Brady? Fire Byron Leftwich. The owner, just tell Todd Bowles, you don't talk. You don't talk to Tom Brady. You can talk to the next quarterback. You don't talk to Tom Brady. That's my take. Because when Brady was calling the plays in that 2-minute drill, they scored actual points. I don't know that it matters. I mean, it's San Francisco's defensive line versus Tampa Bay's backup offensive line here. And yeah, San Francisco, has their own questions on offense, such as their quarterback named Brock Purdy, who may flash. I don't know. All the 49ers players are out there saying he's out. He's like a veteran. Like every rookie quarterback that's ever started is, quote, like a veteran. It's like, come on. According to the players and the coaches. But I don't think that San Francisco offense thing matters. They're favored by 3.5. I just cannot ignore the matchup between the 49ers defense and the Buccaneers offensive line with a 45-year-old quarterback sitting back there. Unless Brock Purdy has like a Nathan Peterman type meltdown, which I don't think he will, I'm gonna take the Niners to cover this 3.5. All right, last game. Sunday Night Football. The Miami Dolphins travel to Los Angeles, where we just were. We just saw Baker Mayfield do that crazy comeback there. But this time they'll be playing the Chargers. Dolphins versus Chargers. This was supposed to be Broncos Chiefs, right? How bad are the Nathaniel Hackett, Russell Wilson Broncos? Bad enough for NBC to pull Pat Mahomes off of primetime. That's bad. Should be ashamed of yourself, Broncos. Be careful, though. I'm doing the Russell Wilson Subway commercial there. All right. Herbert, Tua, Tagovailoa, the 5th and 6th overall picks out of Roger Goodell's basement in that weird 2020 draft. Pretty cool. This is their first time playing against each other. They both had quite the career arc, but they've kind of come. Herbert shot up, won Rookie of the Year in 2020. In 2021, he's being called the competitor to Mahomes. Now he's come down a bit with the support around him collapsing. Tua was on bust watch, but this year with Tyreek and Waddle has gone to the stratosphere, into the fringes of the MVP conversation. It's kind of funny because we've actually come back around to the way we thought about Herbert and Tua in 2020 when they were drafted in Roger Goodell's basement. Justin Herbert leading the Oregon Ducks when everything looked great on TV, but somehow wasn't leading to huge wins or statistical, amazing numbers, not as good as it looked. And Tua struggling to get credit because of his elite wide receivers. That's what happened at Alabama. Miami's favored by 3.5. This game could be anything. It truly could be anything with these two quarterbacks and these offensive lines that are banged up. I'm going to take the Chargers because to cover that 3.5, because I'm worried about, Dolphins left tackle Terran Armstead. Also, where Jalen Waddle is hurt with a fibula injury. You don't see that. Jalen Waddle, parentheses, fibula, is questionable for week 14. Yeah, and I think Tua needs his people, needs his stuff around him. I mean, he's supposedly in the MVP conversation. I know I just said it, but he's got multiple duds. The week 1 game against the Patriots, the Steelers Sunday night game, last week's 49er game where he looks like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Herbert, I think, can be more consistent. I'm worried about Tua without his people. If the Dolphins win this game, I'll feel much better about the Dolphins. All right, we will be back Talk more week 14, Sunday and Monday. My name is Miles. Good night.